Hey y'all, it's Rosie, and yes, I do have another revelation. And I guess I am doing what I've been telling y'all, getting in the presence of God, and He has been downloading and revealing things to me like a lot. And so you might start getting 2 or 3 videos a day. Again, I'm just gonna lead and not lead, share as God leads. That's it. But so I am in a small group and we are doing this Bible study, and in this study it talked about the potter. There's a story. It's in the Old Testament. Again, you're going to have to go and look for it because I don't want you to rely on me. I want you to go and see it for yourself. See if you get your own revelation. And so in the story, it talks about the potter and the clay. And the study was telling us that our role as the clay, because God is the potter, our role is to be molded and to remain. And as I was thinking about that, God took me back to when I took a pottery making class, and we were the potters, and we had our clay, and I was trying to make a vase, and the first one didn't necessarily work out too well. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is I noticed that when my hand stayed on, when I had molded the clay, and as I kept my hands on it, it stayed the way it was supposed to, as long as the wheel was turning. But if I moved my hands and the wheel was still turning, it got out of place. And then I would have to mold it again and keep my hands on it until I stopped the wheel. Well, we are on earth, and the earth is always moving, right? And if God is the potter and we are the clay, we are going to be molded, right? And that molding is sometimes uncomfortable because when you're molding clay, you might have to change some things. You might have to straighten some corners. You might have to smooth some things out. That's uncomfortable. Those are the seasons where it feels like things are caving in on you. Things when things get tight, he might be, compressing you. But you have to be willing and open to be molded, right? But the thing is, when he gets us the way he wants to, we have to remain in his hands. The wheel doesn't stop. The wheel doesn't stop. So if we don't stay in his hands, if we don't stay in his will, we're going to get out of place. And then he has to mold us again. And the thing that God reminded me of is when I had already molded something and I removed my hands before I stopped the wheel, it would distort what I was trying to make in such a way where it was like even more work to try to remold it. Then a lot of times I would just want to start over. The good thing is God doesn't have to start over, but he has the ability to mold us back, but it's very uncomfortable because now we're in a much distorted place than we started out from. And so that's why sometimes when we do something that God told us not to do and we go back to it anyway, it hurts a little more when he tries to get us back on track. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that you're not going to mess up. We all fall short daily. But that's why our goal should be to remain in his will. As clay and God as the potter, our job is willing to be molded. But after we're molded, after God has given us our gifts, after he's told us what our purpose is, after he's given us our instructions, we have to remain in his hands. We have to continue to do what he's telling us to do. Don't get out of his hands, because in the end, it's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable to be remolded. I hope this blessed you. Remember, I love you and God does too.